brothers and sisters, once again, you are welcome to this Sunday's reflection. Today is the 25th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The theme for our reflection today is God's overwhelming love. The first reading of today is taken from the prophecy of Isaiah chapter 55, from verse 6 through to 9. The second reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Philippians chapter 1, from verse 20 through to 24 and verse 27. While the gospel reading of today, which is our focus, is the Gospel of St. Matthew chapter 20, from verse 1 through to 6. In this gospel reading, Jesus gives us the parable of the householder. And in this parable, he highlights two important truths: the generosity of God and the futility of the sin of envy. In this particular parable, Jesus tells us how generous God is, who treats us equally without distinction or discrimination. God does not look at when we have started the journey. His graces abounds for all and equally. And we see this even in the several passages of the scriptures. Jesus demonstrated this overwhelming generosity of God at the wedding feast in Cana, when he performed his first miracle, providing good wine for the people, removing disgrace from the couple. We see Jesus also demonstrating this generosity of God in the multiplication of loaves, feeding thousands, and even taking back leftovers. We see this generosity of God in the gospel of today, when God paid those who did only an hour a full day's wage. And finally, and most importantly, even on the cross, Jesus demonstrated the generosity of God towards the good thief who was given entrance into heaven, into the kingdom of God. And so, my brothers and sisters, when God enters into our lives, he surprises us. He does the unexpected. His love is overwhelming. We cannot count his blessings. What is your attitude towards God? What is your disposition towards God? Do you count your blessings? Or are you focused more on adversity or losses? Secondly, in this same gospel, Jesus condemns the sin of envy. God's generosity was condemned by human beings because God did not act as they felt. Just like the first reading tells us today, God's ways are not our ways, and God's thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways and thoughts are far beyond us. We must learn to understand that, so that we don't create God in our own image and likeness. And so this sin of envy is eating up many people today. Very few are immune from this sin. What is sin of envy? Envy can be described as the sadness over another's happiness, successes, or achievements, and the happiness over another's loss or deprivation. And so envy is terrible. Envy is worse than jealousy. Why jealousy has to do with the things of the other, envy attacks the person. Envy tries to reduce the dignity of the human person. And the cause is founded on the sin of pride. Another cause of envy is ingratitude. When we are not grateful to God for what we have, what He has done for us. Discontentment. Company with those who have warped value system. And so in order to overcome this sin of envy, we must learn to be grateful to God for His manifold blessings and favors in our lives. We must learn to be generous. We must learn to associate with those who have good value system. And so my brothers and sisters, as we celebrate this holy day, let us thank God. Let us count our blessing. Let us see these several ways that God has surprised us, that God has done the unexpected in our lives. Let us remember the overwhelming generosity of God towards us and be grateful to Him. And finally, let us ask for the grace, the deliverance from the sin of envy. And may the Lord continue to help you this day, now and always. God bless you.